Hi guys, it's Andrew here from Eastonmade Wood Splitters today, and welcome back to the Eastonmade channel. As you can see, I am in here in the shop. I am in the shop today, and I'm going to share something with you folks that is pretty near and dear to my heart here. This is the new Eastonmade 40C firewood processor. This is going to revolutionize or change a lot of things in this firewood industry. This is going to be the machine to beat, without a doubt in my mind. The guys here have been working really hard on this, and I'll tell you, if General Motors had Harley Earl and John DeLorean, I've got Gage Arsenal, Mike Ben, and Rick Patoma. This thing is going to be awesome. I'd love to tell you all about how I have done this myself. I have not. There's been a lot of input from a lot of different people, a lot of customers, a lot of feedback from Jeremy Bell that's gone into this. If you know Jeremy, he's the guy that deals with all of the firewood processors and customers. Mark Joannis, he's had a lot of input on this. He's our outside sales rep for firewood processors. The guys in the shop, this has just been a collaboration of a lot of incredible minds putting this together. And all I had to do was kick the stone and get it going downhill. And these guys more or less looked after the rest of it here. This thing's, like I said, this thing's gonna be completely and totally insane what this is gonna do for the price it's gonna come in at. We're going to be doing a live stream tonight. If you're watching this on Saturday, it's gonna be Saturday evening on Skidder Kev's channel. If you haven't subscribed to Skidder Kev, go over there and subscribe to Skidder Kev. If you have any questions about this particular machine, I will be there to answer them, or any other questions you may have. It is always a good time. We have a couple of beers and a visit, and it's just a great part of the firewood community. I'm going to touch on a few points of this machine that are different than what our other platform is and what makes this different. So here we go, guys. This is right now this is going to be a 24-ton cylinder, the same as what's on our 24D. So that should give you kind of a ballpark on what kind of cycle time you can expect out of this. It should be down and back in a little under 3 seconds, which is incredibly fast. With this machine, you're going to be able to order this with either the 24-ton cylinder, which will give you a lot of speed. It'll be very fast. If you're doing pulls, small stuff, this will work really well for you. If you are into doing more bundle wood, package type wood, bigger logs, we're going to have a 37-ton option. You're going to be able to go right up to that 16-way packaged wedge is what we think we're going to be able to run on this and make good wood for it. So that's what's going on with the splitter. It's there's a lot of things that are really cool on this. They've done a really nice job. The big claim to fame with this thing is going to be that we're going to be able to fully automate this. You're going to be able to set up these controls right here and run this machine and not move your hands. You're not going to need to worry about having a very skilled operator run this, because it's going to almost run itself. So if you are somebody that has hired help, if you are somebody that, obviously skilled labor is hard to find, and an equipment operator, a good equipment operator, is very difficult to find, especially running one of these machines. With this, you don't need a guy that's anywhere near as skilled. Here, I'll show you guys. You set up here. This is something that's really cool, really unique to this machine. Are you still there? Oh yeah. So if you look at the controls here, when I'm standing here, this has 2 presence switches. You will have to squeeze both of these presence switches on the joysticks to even operate this machine. So in terms of safety, it's going to be an incredibly safe machine to run. So there's that. You can run it either manually like you would a normal processor, the same platform as our other machine. It's all one joystick, or on this side of it there is a button here. You can double click the button and this thing will run its own cycle. As soon as you let go of one switch or the other, it stops. You want to resume, hit it again, it resumes the cycle. So if you need to reach into the chamber here to adjust anything, it's like hitting an emergency stop. So it's already off for you. So here, I'll show you. Let me grab this. This is a pretty exciting thing for me. This has been a project that was one of those things we got into. And as we've kind of gone through this, it's been kind of cool, because we go through this, and every time we thought we were getting close to it, we thought, oh geez, we should try this, or we should try that, or we should do that differently, or whatever. We finally got it finalized. So there is a control system. So there's your wedge up and down. You'll have to run it manually to center your wedge up. As you can see when you're standing here, you can see perfectly. That is going to be your live deck there. That'll run your logs in out of your live deck. Other than that, it's triggered on the front for your splitter, X and Y axis like you normally would on your machines. And then there's your automatic button. That joystick there, it doesn't actually move anywhere. It's just there for a dead man switch and to hold that one joystick for you. So then that way, you have to be holding both hands on it. You can't reach in the splitter chamber without actually having your hands on this. So that is a control system. And then what we have here is we have our switch bank, the same that we have on our bigger machines. So that'll operate your conveyor on, off, your saw on, off. All the implements you don't use on a regular basis are still going to be on here. As you can see, it's running a little Yanmar engine on it. It's going to have a remote throttle, so you don't need to worry about throttle cables freezing up or seizing on you, because that does happen in the wintertime on these machines. If you have a mechanical throttle cable, any moisture gets in there, they do freeze on you, and that can be a real pain. Over on this side, we're going to have a tip tray here. That tip tray will operate every cycle. This is your log stop here. They didn't put the pin in it. That's how it operates. So there's a switch inside here, so when your log touches that, that's when it initiates the saw cut. The saw that's on this is actually not a slasher blade. This is something new. A lot of the European manufacturers run a similar blade to this. It's a lot like a bucking saw or a buzz saw on the back of a tractor. So it has a very narrow curve. It's only about 1/4 inch, but half the cut width as a standard slasher blade on our bigger processors. The reason we're doing that is because we want to run this with as little horsepower as we possibly can. We want to have enough that the machine's not aggravating, that it's not laboring, that it operates efficiently. However, we want it to be low enough that there's a negligible fuel cost to running this machine. Because right now, that is a very big expense. If you're running any kind of an operation with equipment, fuel is going to be one of your biggest expenses, regardless of when it is. And right now, in this day and age, it's a large part of that. So with that, we have a 60-gallon fuel tank on this thing, and we're hoping with this machine that it's going to burn less than a gallon of fuel an hour with it. So you can take this machine out on a job site, you can have it in your yard, and simply have a fuel truck run around and fill this thing up. So you're not going to need to move this machine very often if you don't have to, or you don't need to aggravate yourself getting fuel with it. It's going to be a really, really nice setup. Like I said, the beam it's pretty well the same thing as what we're running on the big processors, the same as our splitters. The other cool part of this is the built-in feed. Why in the hell are we running a built-in feed on this? Why would we do this? That doesn't make any sense. We've run chains for years and years. Every manufacturer in North America has run chains forever. Why would you not just run a chain on this? Well, because we want to automate this. We want this to run very, very well. We want to be able to more or less have this machine run itself in that smaller wood and 10, 12, 14-inch wood where you don't need to run this. So if you look at this, a log is going to sit perfectly in this corner, whether it be crooked or not or whatever. And as you get to the end of it, it's still going to be sitting in the same position. So to automate this, it works a lot better. When you have a chain-in feed, when you get down to that last 3 or 4 feet, you're always kind of screwing around with that last piece, wanting to go one way or the other on you, where with this, it's always going to be on the inside. In terms of longevity, I would suspect you're going to need to change the belt. I would say probably every 1,000, 2,000 hours. Without running it, guys, we don't know. That being said, this is not the same as a rough top belt that you would see on a typical firewood conveyor or the smaller European processors. This is a proper belt, a good chevron belt, the same as what you would find on a gravel screener. Something along those lines. You can see that the pulleys aren't little rinky-dink pulleys. They are a full-size pulley operating this belt. So it's not we're hoping it's gonna have an incredible amount of longevity with this. And in terms of cost, if you do need to replace this belt, they're not expensive, guys. They're really inexpensive. So I think that's gonna work just fine. The other end of this is, what about crooked, twisted, knotty logs? This belt is I think it's 14 or 16 inches wide. So if you even have something with a crook or something like that in it, it should still grab that log and drive it in very, very well. That's what we found with building firewood processors, is that the bottom, the surface area on the bottom, think of it like a tire on a drag car or a muscle car. The wider the tire you have, the more grip you have. So that is the name of the game here, is having as wide as we can, so that contact area on the log is gonna be sufficient enough. Like I said, this is just it's a 35 horsepower Yanmar engine, same as what you would find in a John Deere compact tractor. It is the same motor. Again, very, very fuel efficient. There's no DEF on it. You can see it still has a particulate filter on it. You got to be under like 25 horsepower for that. But that being said, there's no DEF on it, so there's none of that stuff to go wrong. You just have the simple DPF, and as long as you're doing your regens, when you should be doing them, you shouldn't have too much of an issue with it. So that is going to be a really nice setup. You can see there's a piston pump on it, 2 stacked gear pumps. The piston pump is going to run your splitter, any of those functions that are proportional. The 1 gear pump runs your saw. The other gear pump will run your on-off functions. So that is how that is set up, guys. That should, again, work very, very well. We have this one sensor here clamped on. What that will do is tell you when your last bit of log is in there. So when you get to your last piece, the machine will stop and you'll have to manually run that last 16-inch piece in it, whether you want to cut it short, cut a cookie off it, or run the whole 16 through there. You'll have that. So if you're running 100-inch wood, you're gonna have to do that more often, where if you're running 20-foot wood, something like that, 16, 20 footers, it's gonna happen every minute or two. And again, it's just a matter of having a safety on there. Sawdust control on this machine, Gage has done a really nice job on this. You can see up in here, the whole thing is mounted together, so we're hoping it's gonna keep the area around the machine very well, and it should have the sawdust far enough away from the machine where you can run by with a skid steer or a loader and clean that up. That is probably about it, guys. The other thing you want to note here is this isn't a little machine. Here is a 48C. This is one of our bigger machines. The 60C is very similar, so the exact same size footprint, and so is this. When we went to price this machine out to do this, whether we shortened it or did whatever, that extra little bit of tubing and stuff was, for us, a negligible cost. So for us, we would rather build a machine that is gonna hopefully suit everybody. You're gonna be able to run 4-foot, 8-foot, 16-foot, 12-foot logs on this comfortably. So in terms of resale value, it doesn't matter where you're in the world then. If somebody needs to run 16, 20-foot logs, you can do that. If you're up somewhere where they're running harvesters doing 100-inch wood, you can still do that effectively. And it's still the same machine. It's not a different machine. Weight on this machine is right around 14,000 pounds. So you will need a 3/4 ton pickup truck to pull this still. Something that's half substantial. You're not gonna pull this with a half ton, I don't think. But that being said, when you look at other machines in this category, specifically price point, these machines run weight 8,000–9,000 pounds. So where's the extra weight? It's in the machine itself. Like the beam is a 1-inch beam. The plates are 3/4 inch plates. The trough is 1/4 inch plate. Like everything on this machine is incredibly heavy. That's all 3/8 plate. The guards are all 3/8. Like this is something that is going to be, again, we want to build this machine for longevity. We want to make sure that down the road we can give this thing to a bunch of monkeys and it's still going to look good when you're done with it, because it's your investment, guys. We want to make sure it's going to be a good investment for you, that down the road you can still have something that's worthwhile. Anyways, guys, like I said, I think that is pretty well my spiel about the 40C. Tune in tonight if you have any questions, any comments. We're going to be on Skidder Cap tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This is Saturday morning you're going to see this. So Saturday afternoon we will be on Skidder Cap. Make sure you tune in, show up, ask some questions. It's always a great time, guys. Anyways, if you liked the video, give her a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button on the bottom. I'll keep you in tune with what's going on with this thing. We're hopefully going to have it fired up on Monday. We're missing one hose and they have a little bit of wiring left to do for the panel. So this thing should be running early next week. So make sure you tune in for that. Thanks a lot, guys.